Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. I'm Tony Haggerty at Haggerty10 on the Twitter handle, but you know that by now. And I'm joined today once again by Ryan McGinlay, or as he prefers on the Twitter handle, at the Ryan McGinlay. Get it right. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well, thanks, Tony. How are you?
Fine. Still smiling, are you? Still
As
feeling good?
always, these results take care of you for the next week. So yeah, I'm still pretty buzzing about the weekend, but all focus will be on the game at the weekend. Come the next couple of days, I would say.
James Brown still playing in the background. I feel good. All that kind of stuff, is it? And
Yeah, absolutely.
there you go. Right, we shall talk about all things Celtic, but first and foremost, just direct you to the strap line running along the bottom. You know what I'm going to say. We thank everybody who's already subscribed to the Celtic Way. We hope you enjoy all the content and morning daily briefings as well. But we urge people who haven't, if you like it, then give us a whirl and hit that subscribe button. Click that www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. And we will endeavour to bring you top quality journalism covering the club you love. That's what it says on the tin, Ryan. That's what we endeavour to do.
Absolutely. Couldn't recommend it enough.
And we also say thank you to SENECA. And as everybody knows by now, the Celtic Way morning briefing is sponsored by SENECA Medical Group, and SENECA are the number one hair transplant company in Europe, and they offer innovative hair restoration treatments. And you can find out more about SENECA via the links in the description of this video. Now, by the time we left yesterday, Ryan, there had been a couple of announcements and newsworthy items. So we'll just crack on with the first one, and that was that Celtic were embarking on a tour of Japan and South Korea. It kind of broke as we were on, but we weren't sure about the details because the South Korean part hadn't been established as of yet. But by the time we came off, it had been. And the Celtic did a wonderful thing yesterday, Ryan, via their media channels. And they had Jota, Maeda, Rio Hatate, Matt O'Reilly, Greg Taylor, and Alistair Johnson involved in the announcement of the Japan and South Korea tours. And it was the guys learning the various languages. Japanese they were learning, weren't they? And Maeda and Hatate asked them what they were up to. Jota said studying, and the other trio said practicing. So I thought that was a wonderful way to announce that, and big up to the Celtic media team for that. It was very light-hearted and just a real kind of insight into the kind of camaraderie behind the scenes at Celtic, where everybody's on point, they're all on the same page, and it was. And I know it was kind of a jocular, but it was good. It put a smile on a lot of Celtic supporters' faces, didn't it?
It certainly did, and when I watched it, I was really really delighted to see that. I mean, there's a bit of a language barrier. You still see the Japanese players sort of learning. They're learning the language, but they're still getting involved with stuff like that. As I said yesterday, the language of football is universal, and it seems as if they're all on the same wavelength when it comes to even having the same pattern because they're all up for these videos.
Yeah,
I love, and I didn't miss that. Maeda and Jota. It was Maeda assisting Jota. That was done pretty recently. I'm pretty sure that's very much on the nose on the back of Sunday's result. So I was delighted to see that, and the players genuinely looked delighted to go back to Japan as well. They seem like they're really really up for it.
Maeda to Jota. Are you talking about the brazen header, Ryan? Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes. Tenacious D to Jota.
yes. The brazen header, as I described it as on Twitter. You know where you read it first. I'll just put that out there. Indeed.
Absolutely.
Now, yes, I noticed that as well. I thought that was a wonderful nod to Sunday. Very clever, subtle but clever. And yes, we big up them. But part of that tour is the South Korean element to it. And we were speaking of earlier, but Celtic have announced a friendly against English Premier League opposition Wolves Saturday, the 26th of July, in the Suwon World Cup Stadium. And you were saying to me, that's a return for O to his normal stomping ground.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope I hope that O's footballing skills are better than his acting skills, because they were some of the worst I've ever seen come from a football player. Him knocking on the door and saying thank you to, I think it was Angie, he called him in the video. It was absolutely hilarious. But he looks delighted as well. Obviously, him pointing out on the map that he wants to go to South Korea. That will totally get loads of fans, both from here and over in South Korea, totally buzzing for the summer. And it's a good homecoming for O. There's a lot of fanfare about O, even in his home country. So it'll be great for him to go back so early and sort of feel the adulation of the support that he previously just left about 6 or 7 months ago, or about 8 or 9 by the time that comes around.
Yes, indeed. I think that's a wonderful thing. I was saying yesterday, I think it will do wonders for his own kind of well-being and his confidence levels. It's a wee boost to go back and see his family, but also playing in familiar surroundings, and hopefully lots of people turn up to see him. Mm-hmm. Ryan and Celtic you'll get a wee gauge of the support levels over there with that match. But it's decent opposition for Celtic as well ahead of the Champions League group stages, where if they win on Sunday at Hearts at Tynecastle, they'll be straight in again. No, they'll be straight in there, Ryan. That's what we like to see. And it's all coming together nicely, as they say, isn't it?
It certainly is, and you can see why we've went or why we've arranged a friendly with Wolves. I think that's been announced today, because Hwang Hee-chan's South Korean as well, so that would make sense to have that sort of connection. He gets the sort of adulation from his home support, or his away home support, whatever way you want to call it. But there's definitely links between the two players. Obviously, being from the same country, they'll have known each other from the international setup. But yeah, it's really great to see these players go back to their home countries, and it really is a success for Celtic, the fact that they've got the league basically wrapped up, and if we do that, we're straight into the Champions League. That gives us the opportunity to go to these countries rather than rushing about and then having to negotiate qualifiers down the line. So in a financial aspect, I would say it's a really, really it's a positive for the club, the fact that we can do both while not worrying about needing to qualify for the Champions League, because we're already there. The only thing we need to worry about is the group, is the draw when it comes at the end of August.
Now, you've written a piece about that, the newsletter. If you subscribe, you'll have got that in the newsletter, but I'll put it in the comment section, Ryan, all right? Pick up your work, young man. There we go.
Thank you very much.
Have a wee read of that.
It was just coming off the back of the Asia Tour announcement, because as soon as we came off this briefing, it was basically announced that we were going there. So I talked about how, basically bigging up the article, basically talking about how this will strengthen the financial gap between Celtic and other teams in the domestic league, because I mean these are really lucrative financial opportunities for the club, and it's ones that they should be taking.
Yes. And a wee bit of love coming in for you, Ryan from Brian McCabe. Trust me, guys, in addition to the Celtic Way, always enjoyed listening to his opinions on Ryan 118. That'll be the other Ryan, too many Ryans. Yeah. Ryan, an assist from Brian. There you go. But, yes. Now, something else came about yesterday after we left the morning briefing, and that was a definitive on Cameron Carter-Vickers, an update on his injury, and that's going to keep him out for 3 to 4 months. So that's what we believe, and that's running the risk of him missing the start of the season, Ryan. Start of the season being August the 4th. But it does give you a kind of timeline for his injury and hopefully his triumphant return, going under the surgeon's knife and getting his troublesome knee injury seen to. So we wish him well with that, but now we've got some kind of definitive Ryan, and we can see kind of light at the end of the tunnel for him. He might miss the start of the season, but all being well, he will return soon enough. But we can't rush him back. It has to be back when he's fit and he's ready, and I'm sure the Celtic manager and Postecoglou and the medical team will be well aware of that, despite the fact that he could miss some crucial games. Yeah,
absolutely. It's an even bigger incentive for Kobayashi, you've got to say. You're basically been given this extended run in the team and through pre-season to show how good you've how good you've progressed over the past 5-6 months. It's a really exciting prospect. Do you know, Carter-Vickers has been a mainstay in the Celtic defence. He probably is due a rest, maybe not a rest in the period of 3 to 4 months while he rehabs an injury, but it's one of those ones we will miss him. But it's good that a lot of the time will be sort of pre-season and pre-season friendlies, so it's not a big a hit as it would have been if it was halfway through the season. But in terms of getting his timing right, he's getting his match fitness, it is a bit of a problem. But I'm sure we can adapt. It might even be a position that Celtic look at in the summer transfer window. But we've got players in there that are ready to come in and stake a claim, I would say. So it's whatever negatives there are also some positives to it as well. And I'm glad that if Carter-Vickers gets this sorted, then that'll be him set. He'll be back fully fit, and we'll see an even better version of Carter-Vickers next season. Also, it's quite funny because Celtic fans always try and look for the positives and everything. People were like, "Oh, we're not going to sell Carter-Vickers now. Nobody's going to buy him if he's injured or he's crocked." So it's good that some of the Celtic fans are looking for a positive in what is basically a negative story for him being out 3-4 months.
Yes, well, that's exactly. Now, a couple of comments coming in on that, and I'll just flick them up here. Ryan, Max Stark, Cameron Carter-Vickers injury could be a blessing. Might mean it's easier for us to keep a hold of him in the summer. Jamie7121 says, anything on AJ? Not yet. Keep your eye on that. Not seen anything definitive on Alistair Johnston's injury as of yet. Derek Crawford, morning Derek, how you doing? The silver lining is hopefully nobody will come in with a big bid for Cameron Carter-Vickers now. And David Ferguson says Cameron Carter-Vickers has got adamantium in his veins. He'll be back in 6 weeks. Talk about words of the day. Adamantium.
That's that.
David Ferguson. Just hand you that title right now. Adamantium. There you go. Loving that. So keep your comments coming in, guys. We always Kevin Ferrier, you stop flicking chats up, Tony. there you have it. So hey, that's for comments. You guys are commenting. I'm flicking them up as we're going along. Now, you mentioned 2 words there about Cameron Carter-Vickers. You said he'll return and he'll be bigger and better. And for those of you who remember Mr. Ben, as if by accident the shopkeeper arrived, I'll put a link to something I've written on the website today, talking about bigger and better and the evolution of Celtic. The revolution is over, Ryan. The evolution is starting. The manager mentioned that, so have a gander at that. Troops, you might enjoy that. And that's the kind of gist of it even.
The gist of it. Just talking about that, I remember the Australian and Japanese media were always saying that Ange's second season was better than his first. Now, his first season was great now, but they might be right about this second season if we do what we're supposed to do in the next few weeks.
They did tell us that. They did indeed. So, a nod to that, starting with his famous speech from last season. Enjoy today, enjoy the summer. You've embraced me and the jumper, but we'll come back bigger, better, stronger, because we never stop. So, on you go.
I've lost count of how many times I've watched that video. I must have watched that about 100 times that day, never mind in the year ahead.
Well, my point, not to give too much of a plot spoiler, my point was people could have thought that was him playing to a gallery and just, rallying the troops. I'm making the point that in that instant, he's thinking about next season, i.e. this season. He just won the double. How can they be bigger, better and stronger? Won the treble. So that's the gist of it, guys. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think. But if you want to read it, I put it in the comment section for you. And also, we're talking about how well Cameron Carter-Vickers played on Sunday. Stuart Ross, in his inimitable style, has written a piece on his defensive partner, who we bigged up on Monday, Ryan, Carl Starfelt. And I'll put this in. You can have a wee read at that too. So, 3 cracking things on the website for you to read today, guys. So we plug them, put them in. There you go. So all good. Have a wee read at that. But Stuart Ross bigging up Carl Starfelt, and as we say, he was excellent on Sunday as well, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. Carl Starfelt, I think he's a bit of an unsung hero, although he seems to be getting his praise more and more every week now. I think it was difficult for a lot of people to sort of shake off the tag of the fact that he had a shaky start at Celtic, but he's been absolutely tremendous. He's making less and less mistakes, you've got to say, and if you ask the guy to just go out and defend the ball in his box, he will do that. And I think his distribution is getting better. And as we talked about yesterday, I think him playing on the right hand side of defence will mean that he's able to string more passes together. Because I mean, I remember when we were signing Starfelt from Rubin Kazan, and I looked at his possession stats or his passing accuracy. It was one of the highest in Russia. It showed that he could do it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he does on the right hand side of defence. Maybe more people take a notice of how good a defender he is next to Kobayashi in the remaining games.
Here's one for me from Peter King. Tony, you going to Japan and South Korea? Oof, don't know, am I? We'll find it in the fullness of time. I maybe have to do what Jota and the boys are doing, practicing. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm.
Studying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see about that. Don't worry. You'll be the first to know, guys, if I am or I am not travelling to watch Celtic in the Far East. It would be great. Having been to Australia, but I'd love to go, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, yes, I can't big up Carl Starfelt's performance enough either after Sunday. And I just think that as high bars go, he set a high bar as well, but when he falls below that, people seem to give him it tight, as they say, Ryan, and he gets a harder time. I think people have seen that also because they think there might be a mistake in him or whatever. But there's a mistake in every defender, isn't there?
Absolutely. I think that's just that's the way a defender's life is going to be, because they're, apart from the goalkeeper, they're the last line of defence. So if they make a mistake, the chances are, unlike a midfielder or a striker, the team is going to get punished for that. It will directly lead to a goal. So I think people are quite hard on defenders, but I think the proof is in the pudding for Starfelt recently. He's been absolutely tremendous. I think he's been, the past 3-4 weeks, I've said that he's maybe been outperforming Carter, because I've been saying that to some people that I speak to. I've been so impressed with his sort of leadership on the ball. He's sort of defending. Yeah, I think he's getting better and better in the hoops. I think he's someone that we really need to keep in the summer, because I remember seeing a tweet from Fabrizio Romano that there was clubs down south interested in him. And he's a guy that you really want to keep around the club, because that partnership between Carter-Vickers and Starfelt is absolutely instrumental to our success, you would say.
Oh, very much so, and I think he's been outstanding in our last two visits to Hampden, the League Cup final, and also on Sunday there. So, and David Ferguson coming back in spot on, Ryan, it might come to the point where Carter-Vickers struggles to get back in.
I'd love to be in that position. I
would, I would like to see that actually happen, because then that would determine that Kobayashi and Starfelt were playing out their skin. But yeah, if that does happen, then all the better. As long as all three stay in situ, then we're well stocked for decent defenders. But there you go. Somebody says I've changed their mind for Player of the Year. Who's this? Jill Pill. I think I've changed my mind about Player of the Year. I think he'll go for Cavan and Carter-Vickers. There you go. And somebody else talking about Jerry Smith saying Carl Starfelt would be in his team all day long. Possibly. I mean, I think he got a bad rap for a couple of mistakes that he made. The Ibrox penalty springs to mind, doesn't it? So,
yeah, absolutely. I think you've got to, with regards to the mistakes sort of tag getting lumped on him, I think you've got to look at the context in which he went into the team in 2021. He just came out of isolation for 10 days. I think the only thing he was training on was a treadmill in a hotel room. To get flung into Tynecastle, which had fans back, which is an intimidating atmosphere for any sort of player, especially a guy on his debut. It's a big ask for a player that's just trying to get settled in, but I think game by game he's get better and better, and I think he's been one of our best players this season, I've got to say. I think he could be a dark horse shout for Player of the Year. I know Carter-Vickers will probably get it, but I think it's important that Carl Starfelt gets the credit that he deserves.
I think he deserves an honourable mention beside
Absolutely.
His defensive partner, but and as you say, he might be an outside shout for it, but probably won't get it because of the way Cameron Carter-Vickers has played, or the contribution from Jota and Kyogo, who are the limelight grabbers, but also honourable mentions for the likes of Dies and Maeda, Greg Taylor, guys like that, Rio Hatate, so many people, Matt O'Reilly, so many players in that team, and Cal Mack.
Of course.
So it's like that's more or less your whole team who could be contenders for Player of the Year.
That's a great position to be in. A phenomenal position to be in. The fact that you're struggling.
8 players just rolled off there of your starting 11. Give or take. You're more or less your normal starting 11. It's incredible testament to the consistency levels that Celtic have shown this season, Ryan. You have, you could rhyme off those 8 players and see if they were the Player of the Year, then you wouldn't have any qualms.
Mm-hmm. It's a great position to be in. It shows you that the qualities going between one player, not just one player. It's not as if we're relying on one player in the team. It's coming from loads of players. It's a team effort, and everyone's pulling in the same direction in order to get us to where we need to be and where we want to be. So I think all these players are deservedly getting all the credit that they deserve for the amount that they put in this season. I haven't even talked about Aaron Moy, who's been one of our best players in the second half of the season. I know he's had a couple of iffy games recently, but I mean his contributions since the World Cup break have been brilliant. So we are in a really, really great position when it comes to naming a Player of the Year. I remember some seasons where you're struggling, and like, there's one person that's maybe an outstanding candidate, but now you could pick one for every position. It seems like
when you lived through the 90s, Brian, Player of the Years were not something
I was born in the 90s, so I can't say that.
Or you said the player should hand it back, that kind of thing. So Derek Crawford coming in, Starfelt's best games have been when he has less time in the ball, being forced to defend. He's solid in the air and strong, very much so. And Child Paul saying it's easy to go for the players. Try that. Something on my teeth today. Easy to go for the players, and we love them all. But Cameron Carter-Vickers has been a rock. Now we know he's been playing with significant injury, makes him a true warrior. There's merit in that. And Beach Boys.
Maybe Carter-Vickers has just been he's been giving the rest of the league a chance. The fact that he's been playing with an injury and they still can't get near him.
Well, Beach Boys coming in with the converse reaction to Starfelt. Starfelt Player of the Year. The season isn't judged on last Sunday's game. It's 9 months. He's a professional defender. When he heads balls clears, you make him out to be a world beater. I don't think we're making him out to be a world beater. We're just saying that he's maybe much maligned, Beach Boys. It's clear from those comments that he's not your favourite player in a Celtic jersey, and you're entitled to that opinion, but many of the Celtic supporters like him. So we're just, for every yin there's a yang. Got to have balance.
A game of opinions.
Sons of Scotland 67 says the team managers assembled a solid family unit and it screams togetherness. If you watched the videos yesterday or the media post yesterday, you will have saw that for yourself. Child Paul says this is the hardest Player of the Year choice ever. Have to agree with you, it's very, very difficult. Jimmy Krangle, for me, Hatate is the Player of the Year. Another good shout, but there you have it. It's one of those great debates, isn't it, Ryan? But it's just great that we've got, as you say, 8 players to argue the toss over in the team. Maybe even more than that, as we list them, ring them off there. So wonderful position to be in. Let's be honest.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I mean, we've not even really spoke about Kyogo. I mean, the amount of goals he scored, he would have probably got the same goals last season if it wasn't for injuries as well. So he's shown his quality and he's shown his consistency over the 2 years that he's such an instinctive finisher in the box. And I'll be honest, I can't look past him for Player of the Year. The goals that he's scored have been, he's just been so important in the team. Without his goals, I think the goals would maybe be.
On you go, sorry.
The goals would be more spread out, but Kyogo's taken up the mantle. The fact that we lost a striker in January as well, and we've been sort of getting into the swing of things. He's taken up the mantle himself and has been scoring goals. He's done it against Rangers now, which was maybe the one sort of question mark that was on him. I know he just can't stop scoring against Rangers. I know he didn't score in the last game, but his record this season has been phenomenal.
Seems to have been stuck on 29 for ages though, Ryan.
I know. That's something for Tynecastle at the weekend, I think.
Slamming the penalty against the post against Kilmarnock, picked up. But he's human, isn't he? He's not a robot, as the manager would say. So I hope he saved it for Sunday and he gets his 30th goal at Tynecastle and it's a title-winning clincher. That would be excellent for Kyogo. So, yep. David Ferguson has a player of the year ever been split 8 ways, not to my knowledge. And Robert Gibson comes in with this cheeky offering. If you can't agree on player of the year, he'll take the award. It's very magnanimous, Robert. That's very magnanimous. That is fair enough. But yes. But yeah, no, I think you can't underestimate Kyogo's contribution. And I'm naturally drawn to goal scorers. I've said that before because that was my position, kind of winger or centre forward or behind a front two, and I'm always the glory hunters, the goal grabbers, the headline grabbers, and all that, the limelight hoggers. But I'm still going to say Cameron Carter-Vickers, and I love Kyogo, so I think it shows you my mindset that I've been persuaded to vote for somebody else, because normally on any given season it's Kyogo all day long for me. But I think he's been terrific, and I think he's just done a brilliant example to any young budding striker out there. Just watch his movement, just watch the way he plays football, and just watch the biggest thing that he does. He's always smiling, he's always happy, he's always looking to score goals. He reminds you of kind of Ronaldinho in that sense, that he just loves being out there and scoring goals or creating goals or helping the team. And I think they're wonderful traits to have, and it's a brilliant example for any youngster watching. Watch guys like Ronaldinho, they'll have watched Henrik Larsson, but now watch Kyogo, because I think he epitomises everything that's great about Celtic, the team, the work ethic, that togetherness, spirit, unity, bond that the manager has created. You can see exactly why he was brought to the football club.
And that's the same for a lot of Ange's signings. He's made it very clear that he signs people and not footballers, and he is very much like a ray of sunshine in this team. He's an absolute demon up front. Like, he will score goals and harass defences all day, but off the pitch he's always smiling. I think it was great to see that documentary as well in the past couple of months that really showed what he's like off the pitch, to show that it's not all an act. That is the way that Kyogo is 24/7. He's just being himself. That's what you want to see, and that's somebody that's obviously very comfortable with his surroundings and comfortable with what he's got at Celtic, and that can only mean good things on the pitch as well.
Yeah, David Ferguson coming around saying Ralston said the exact same thing, Tony, which I've just said. Yeah. Yes, he did actually. You're right, but you can sort of get it. You can see it, and it's evident in front of you when you're watching this football team and those players, and long may that continue. Now, speaking about youngsters, going to switch the focus and attention to the youngsters, because tonight, Ryan, Celtic under-18s play the Youth Cup final against Rangers at Hampden, and sadly I think there's no fans allowed in for the occasion, which is a shame, but still great for the youngsters to run out at Hampden. And Stuart McLaren's team have beaten Dundee, Devon, Vale, Dunfermline and St Johnstone, scored 21 and conceded just once the run up to the final. Stuart McLaren took over the under-18s January 2022, so I think it's his first final. Will probably be the majority of the players' first crack at playing a big game like that in a big stadium. So we wish them well, and I believe it's on one of the BBC channels, isn't it? So guys, you want to tune in, you can watch the cream of Celtic's young talent, hopefully beating their rivals in a Scottish Cup final, Youth Cup final, Ryan. Tonight, 7 o'clock, Hampden.
Yeah, they might as well get used to it. They might as well get used to beating Rangers. Fingers, it'll give them great experience for further down the line, if and when they make it into the Celtic team. No, but it's a great opportunity for them playing at a big park like Hampden. I seem to remember going to one 10, 15 years ago that Callum McGregor was playing in the lineup. I don't know if it was 10, 15, might have been 13, 12 years ago, but this is the start for a lot of players. These are the moments that will I'm sure Ange Postecoglou will be at the match tonight, so he'll be there watching. I'm sure the assistant managers will be watching. This is the chance, their chance to sort of catch the manager's eye and get into his thinking ahead of next season, maybe the season after. If you can do it on the big stage, then if you've got the hard work ethic and the ability, then what's stopping you from getting into the Celtic team? Because Ange says everyone's on an even playing field, regardless of where you've came from or how you've made it into the first team. Everyone's even, so this is a chance for players to make a name for themselves, and I hope they go out and do the business.
That's a wonderful incentive, Ryan, that, as you say. The manager will be there because he'll want to see, because he takes interest in all levels of the club and what they're doing.
Yep.
And if someone was to say to me, I'm 18, Ange Postecoglou's watching, or the Celtic manager, whoever that is, I'd be busting a gut to impress. I'd be like, me, watch me, so, and, but it's a great chance to showcase your talent in front of the man that matters the most at the football club, the manager, and as you say, just to give him food for thought and say, like to look at him, maybe bring him into the, even play your way into the South Korean and Japan trip, something like that. What a boost that would be for one of those guys if they could do that, eh?
Yeah, nothing's off the table. I don't think Ange would take anything off the table like that. If you perform enough and you're at the right sort of age to sort of go away with the team and you're in the right mentality, then why not take them? That'd be an even greater experience for some of the youth prospects, because you don't know what. I'm trying to think. By the time pre-season will be back, there'll be nobody playing internationals at that point. The whole team will be back, so you would think they wouldn't need to make up the numbers. But even then, if you're there by merit, and hopefully some of them make the grade. I mean, maybe you'll see that more with the B team, but it'd be great to see some of the under 18s dotted around the team, and maybe they'll be making the move up to the B team next season. So this is a perfect opportunity to show that they have what it takes to make it up to that next step.
Now, there was no public sale of tickets for this, Ryan, was there?
No, I think tickets have been given to family and friends of the players, but that's about that.
Okay, that's for various misdemeanours from fans in the lead up to it. Was that right?
Yeah, I think so. In incidents in the past, but I mean, you'd like to have this. You'd like to have a crowd at these games, but at the same time, it's all about the players on the park.
Yep, there you go. Derek Crawford's put it up. BBC Scotland. That's it. And it's on at 6:50. Kick off at 7 o'clock, so you can tune in and watch the youngsters hopefully bring more silverware to the club. I'll be there, Ryan. I'm returning to the scene of Sunday's, I wouldn't say crime, but Sunday's win, which took Celtic closer to an 8th domestic treble, potential world record. Ryan, no club has won 8 domestic clean sweeps. So June the 3rd, we'll be returning to Hampden, hopefully to see Celtic do that. We'll preview that in good time, in the fullness of time. But yeah, that's we've had a wee chat about the club that we love, Glasgow Celtic.
Can't beat it.
Yes, and as we say every day, why don't you subscribe? If you enjoyed this podcast or morning briefing, then subscribe and you can watch them all and you can read everything that's on the website. It's all for the click of a button, guys. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. And as it says in the start line, we'll endeavour to, if you do that, you'll support top quality journalism covering the club you love, and we'll endeavour to provide that as we do on a daily basis. Talk everything Celtic. It just gets better and better, doesn't it, Ryan?
Absolutely cannot complain with what's going on at Celtic. It seems like we're in a permanent sort of good mood, so I can't complain at all. And long may it continue.
It's good news week, as they say, Ryan. That's what we like to hear. And as we say, always thank you to our sponsors, SENECA Medical Group. Celtic Way Morning Briefing is sponsored by SENECA Medical Group. SENECA are the #1 hair transplant company in Europe, and they offer innovative hair restoration treatments. And you can find out more about SENECA via the links in the description of this video. Now, I believe yourself and young Aidan will be back tomorrow in those chairs. I'll enjoy a rare day off from the briefing. I will see you all again on Friday, chaps and chapesses and ladies and gentlemen and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'll away lie down get some sleep, Ryan, I think, before the big one tonight. And we cheer on the young lads. Hopefully they can do the business tonight. Stuart McLaren's team win the silverware that's on offer against our city rivals at Hampden. Till tomorrow, where Ryan and Aidan will join you guys. I'll see you on Friday, but thanks as ever for your contributions. We love it. We try and read as many out as we can. Sorry, Kevin, that we jumped into private conversations. Wasn't aware of that. We just flick the comments up as you go along, but they go along fastish, so we try and make sure that the comments are clean and there's nothing untoward. So, yeah, you have it. Nice one. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and the boys will see you tomorrow.